I had always believed in love, true, slow, steady love, the kind that grows with time, nurtured by trust. I wasn't one to fall fast or blindly. But somehow, I didn't see him coming. His name was Toby. Charming, gentle, respectful, or so I thought. When he proposed to me under the fading golden skies of Abuja's Millennium Park, I believed it was the start of our forever. He didn't have much, but I didn't care. I had a stable job, savings, and a heart full of dreams for us. I supported him financially, emotionally, everything. And when we began building a future together, I trusted him enough to merge my world with his. But love, real love, should never require you to blindly give. Because the moment I looked away, he stabbed me in the back with the sharpest betrayal I'd ever known. And when I found out what he had done, I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I plotted. I first met Toby at a business conference in Lagos. I was a guest speaker on women in tech. He was working security. A bit odd for an educated man with a degree, but he said life had just hit him hard: COVID layoffs, sick mother, rent struggles. I admired his humility. He didn't beg, didn't whine. He just did what he had to. We started dating a few months later. At first, everything was wonderful. He was attentive. He made me laugh. He remembered my deadlines, brought me food when I worked late, and never let me open my own car door. For someone like me, used to men intimidated by my success, it was refreshing. And when he asked to move into my apartment, I said yes. Just until I get back on my feet, he promised. He got a small job at a radio station, but the money wasn't much. Still, I didn't mind paying for groceries, rent, even his car repairs. I wanted to see him grow. And because I loved him, I allowed him access to my bank app for emergencies, I said. He promised never to touch it without asking. That was my first mistake. 2 years in, we got engaged. The ring wasn't much, silver with a small stone. He apologized for not being able to afford more, but I waved it off. I wasn't marrying money, I was marrying the man I thought loved me. We started planning a small wedding. Or so I thought. I noticed something odd during our preparations. He kept pushing the wedding date forward. My uncle's visa got delayed, he said once. Venue isn't available, another time. At some point, I started wondering if I was the only one planning this wedding. Still, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Until one morning, everything unraveled. It was a Friday, and he left early for a work retreat. I was cleaning our shared wardrobe when I found a printed hotel receipt for the Lakeview Garden Resort. It was dated that same day. Odd. Something in me stirred. I checked the confirmation email on his laptop. The booking said, Mr. and Mrs. Toby Aled, Executive Honeymoon Suite. Mrs. Chills ran down my spine. I opened his Google account. I knew his password, he wasn't very private. And there it was, email exchanges with Omalara, his ex. She'd returned from the UK 2 months ago. He'd reconnected with her behind my back. They weren't just talking. They were engaged. And they were getting married tomorrow. The worst part. He used my money to fund it all. My bank statement showed 2 large withdrawals in the past month, both disguised as car repairs and rent for his cousin. I had been financing my own heartbreak. I sat there, numb, staring at the screen. I didn't cry. I didn't even scream. I just felt cold. You see, Toby didn't just cheat. He betrayed me. He took my kindness, my love, my trust, and spat on it. And that night, as I lay in bed, something in me cracked. And something else. It came alive. The next morning, I was calm. Focused. Calculated. He hadn't even broken up with me. He thought he could disappear for a weekend, marry another woman, and return with some lame excuse. But I wasn't going to wait for his explanation. I reached out to an old friend who'd work. She worked in logistics and often arranged luxury wedding rentals, tents, tables, lighting, everything. I found out exactly where the wedding was, a private estate in Lekki Phase 1. A soft, outdoor evening affair by the water. And you know what weddings need? Power. Electricity. Toilets. Furniture. Tents. All rentals, which were in my name. Toby must have thought he was clever using my company contacts to book them under a dummy name. But the thing about being clever is you have to be smarter than your victim. At 4 p.m., 2 hours before the wedding, I called the vendor. Cancel everything, I said. Full cancellation. Non-refundable. And tell the truck drivers to turn back. Then I called the estate manager. I had a friend who lived nearby. He helped me with the number. Hi. Someone's throwing a wedding at your estate today. Just thought you should know they forged the rental permit. I suggest checking it before it starts. Then, finally, I went to my bank and froze the joint account he thought I'd forgotten about. That was where he transferred my money, thinking he could hide the trail. By 6:30 p.m., the estate was a disaster. Guests arrived to find no chairs, no food, no power. The DJ walked away. The caterers left. There was no toilet. No wedding coordinator. And Toby. He was sweating in his fake tuxedo, begging the bride's angry father for understanding. But the best part? The hotel booking for their honeymoon suite, I cancelled that too. And since they didn't have any real cash on them, thanks to me freezing the account, they had nowhere to go that night. So, on what should have been the happiest night of their lives, they slept in Toby's old, beat-up car. Homeless. Just like he had made me feel. Weeks passed. Toby tried to contact me. Dozens of missed calls. Apologies. Threats. Voice notes. He even showed up at my office once, begging at the gate. But I never responded. What was there to say? I didn't destroy him. He destroyed himself. I just showed him what it felt like to be used, discarded, and disrespected. As for Omalara, she left him a week later. Turned out, she was more interested in the fantasy than the reality of a broke, lying man who couldn't afford a mattress without stealing. I moved on. I transferred to a new city. Started afresh. Changed my phone number. Went to therapy. I even adopted a cat. And when people ask me if I regret it, falling for Toby, giving him everything, I say no. Because now, I understand something powerful: love is not sacrifice without boundaries. Trust should not be blind. And revenge. Sometimes, it's not about hurting someone back. It's about teaching them a lesson the world refused to teach them gently. Never mistake kindness for weakness. And never betray someone who was ready to build an empire with you, because when they finally walk away, they might just burn the kingdom down on their way out. After the wedding chaos, silence fell like a curtain over everything. Toby disappeared from social media. Omalara, humiliated, deleted every post, every hashtag, every bridal shoot. Their fairytale wedding had turned into a public embarrassment, and people talked. A lot. Friends whispered, coworkers speculated, even neighbors gossiped. But I didn't care about the noise. I cared about peace. I took time off work, traveled to Enugu for a month, and stayed with my cousin. I needed distance, from the city, from memories, from the pain I had buried so quickly in revenge. In the quiet of the countryside, I began to unpack my wounds. Because as satisfying as that night had been, the scars Toby left weren't just financial or emotional, they were spiritual. He had made me doubt myself. doubt my worth, doubt my ability to see people clearly. And that takes time to heal. But healing, like revenge, is a process. And I chose both. One afternoon, I got a message from an unknown number. The profile picture was blank, but the message was unmistakably from him. Asterisk, you ruined my life, Bola. I loved you. Why would you do this to me? Asterisk. I didn't reply. I simply blocked the number. You see, people like Toby don't love you. They love what you give them, security, attention, loyalty, but never you. If he loved me, he would have protected me. Not robbed me blind and married someone else behind my back. The truth is, he never expected consequences. That was the real betrayal, not just the cheating, but the audacity to think I'd sit quietly and take it. Weeks later, I heard he had moved back to his hometown. Word was he was staying with an uncle in Ibadan, trying to start over. No one knew if he and Omalara were still together, but by then, it didn't matter. What mattered was me. I started journaling again. I returned to the gym. I made new friends. I finally enrolled in that business course I had delayed for too long. Slowly, I rebuilt not just my life, but my confidence. And I swore never again would I let love blind me to red flags dressed in sweet words. Because now, I understood something even deeper. A year later, I was sitting at a cafe in Accra during a tech networking event when I bumped into someone, literally. He spilled his coffee. I dropped my tablet. We both laughed, and he apologized like a true gentleman. His name was Ni. A software developer from Ghana. Smart, calm, emotionally intelligent. He didn't try to impress me with flash. He listened. Really listened. And he didn't run from my scars. On our third date, I told him everything. The betrayal. The money. The fake wedding. My revenge. I watched his face carefully, waiting for judgment, for that look people give you when they think you've gone too far. But instead, he leaned forward and said, "You didn't destroy anything. You protected yourself. And that's powerful." That's when I realized not everyone is like Toby. Some men build with you, not off you. Today, I'm in a healthy relationship, but more importantly, I'm at peace. The story of what Toby did to me no longer defines me, it empowers me. I speak at women's events now, warning them about the quiet ways we are conditioned to give until we bleed. I talk about financial boundaries in relationships, about not mistaking patience for tolerance, about how ride or die shouldn't mean ride into ruin. As for Toby, he's just a footnote now. A reminder of the woman I used to be, and the woman I refused to remain. Because here's the truth. You can lose money. You can lose love. But never lose your power. This story isn't just about betrayal or revenge. It's about reclaiming yourself when someone tries to write your ending for you. It's about standing up when society expects you to sit down and forgive quietly. And it's about understanding that the worst thing someone can do isn't lie or cheat, it's make you question your own value. So to every woman out there, guard your heart, yes. But guard your bank account, your time, your energy, your mind even more. Because real love doesn't exploit. It protects. It builds. It sees you fully, and never asks you to shrink. And if anyone ever tries to rob you of that, make them homeless in every way that matters.